I am really excited for New York Film Festival. Some background on the whole New York Film Festival. So New York Film Festival is a film festival here in New York. It usually is around fall season or just the beginning of fall season. It's been running now for 61 years. This is the 61st version of the New York Film Festival. It loves showcasing obviously a lot of more, I wouldn't say indie films, but more of the tier 2 with some tier 1 level movies. You're not going to get obviously your huge major blockbuster films like, Marvel films or what have you, but you will get major blockbuster films here on occasion. Joker, I saw at New York Film Festival, and I was lucky enough to see a nice Q&A afterwards that had Joaquin Phoenix and a director there talking about the movie. Scorsese usually is very celebrated at this festival. That's why it is to my surprise that Killers of the Flower Moon is not being screened this year. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it has to do with because it's an Apple film. I don't necessarily see Apple films at New York Film Festival. I don't know if it's a partnership thing. Netflix is always well represented at New York Film Festival. I saw The Irishman at New York Film Festival. But yeah, it is like one of the major film festivals during festival season, during award season. You can put New York Film Festival up there with the likes of Telluride, Venice, Toronto, TIFF. The season usually kicks off with Cannes Film Festival. And then it kind of that's like the major start. And then it kind of goes on from there. Usually the New York Film Festival, also because it's my local major film festival, that of course you have the other New York Film Festival, which is Tribeca. Robert De Niro is usually attached to that, but that celebrates more of the independent films. Yeah, when it comes to major film festivals, New York Film Festival is one of the ones out there. And it's one of the, since it is local, it's the one that I do attend every year. That's why I was so elated and really, really, really excited and this is only the second year I applied for press credentials. And when I got that email that I was accepted, I believed. I read the email on my phone and I kind of dropped the phone and I kind of teared a little bit, and I was just so excited because it's my film festival. That is my film festival. That is the film festival that I go to religiously every year. And to be honored to cover it officially for a venture that I started on my own roughly 2 to 3 years ago, in wanting to be kind of a movie pundit, someone who talks about movies, someone who shares and displays his passion about movies and movie making out in public and wanting to build a community around that. I couldn't be happier. And I'm hoping that it's a sign of things to come, and I'm hoping to, Blake will join me in this ride, as we help further promote the MovieTime podcast. So, of course, I'm super excited. And this year, it's a very interesting year because obviously with the writers' strike and actors' strike, one great thing about this festival is that usually you get, those involved in the movies to show up. And they'll do either an introduction to the film that you're watching, or they'll do a nice little Q&A afterwards, right? So it was really interesting to hear and find out who's going to show up. Directors can show up because the directors are not on strike, right? But also movies that are attached to more independent studios that aren't part of the AMPTP, like Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal. Those are like the major studios that the strikes are happening against, right? So A24, I believe Lionsgate is an exception. Those studios have had exceptions when it comes to promotions of their films. So I'm happy to see that it looks like we are going to get some people showing up. And I'm going to be there as much as I can to cover it all. So I'll be doing kind of a diary of my days at the film festival. The official festival does not start until the 29th, but for press, for myself, I'm recording this on the 21st. It starts today. So my first film I'll be watching today, and it's All of Us Strangers, which stars Paul Mescal, Andrew Scott, Jamie Bell, Claire Foy. It's something that I'm looking forward to watching, and that is going to be the first film I'll be watching today. And then there'll be a slew of stuff that I'll be watching tomorrow. But yeah, I'll be doing kind of like daily diaries on the YouTube channel. And maybe what I'm thinking of doing is that I will kind of every week I will put those diaries together, or I'll split them up and I'll release them in podcast format so that you'll hear kind of my thoughts and takeaways from the movies I'm seeing every week. And when the official festival starts on the 29th, that's when more of the major slates will be available for press to cover. So I'll be watching movies like, May, December, Priscilla, all that stuff. And we'll get into that the more and more you hear me talk about the festival moving forward. But every year, there's always 10 movies. I hate like clumping it down to just 10 because there's always more movies that I'm looking forward to watching every year. But for this sake, I put together a list of 10 movies that I'm truly, truly looking forward to catching this year. And I can't wait to talk about once I see them, because these are, again, my most anticipated movies this year. Let me run down what those films are. So the first one that I'm looking forward to is called Anatomy of a Fall. Anatomy of a Fall is the winner of this year's Palme d'Or at Cannes Film Festival. It's Justine Triet's drama about a famous novelist played by Tony Erdmann's Sandra Hüller, accused of killing her husband after his body has fallen from a high window at their home in the French Alps. It's a riveting procedural and a delicate inquiry into the impossibility of ultimate truth in people's relationships. So one of the reasons why I'm really looking forward to this is, of course, it's the Palme d'Or winner. That is the main prize of Cannes, and that's the one that every year people are looking forward to watching. Last year, it was Triangle of Sadness, which I was super excited to watch. And when I did finally watch it, I was thrilled. It was literally, I think, one of my top 10 movies last year. I really, really enjoyed that movie a lot. And so, of course, I'm very super curious as to Anatomy of a Fall and how well that movie is going to be. I've heard nothing but great things coming out of Cannes and the other festivals where this movie has screened at. So this is definitely one of the movies I'm highly looking forward to catching. The next movie on my list here is Ferrari. I love Michael Mann and I love the movies he does. So this is a movie that I'm definitely looking forward to. And we haven't gotten really a Michael Mann movie in a while. Black Cat was the last time we got a Michael Mann movie. Chris Hemsworth, Black Cat. And then before that, Public Enemies was the one that came out before that. With Johnny Depp. But yeah, anytime, obviously Michael Mann is well known for his movie Heat, which is held in a lot of people's regards as one of the best movies with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. First time they did a movie together. And of course, Val Kilmer's in that movie too. Of course, a lot of people also say The Last of the Mohicans back in 92. But yeah, this is Michael Mann. So he brings his astonishing command of technique and storytelling to bear on his thrilling new film, an emotional, elegantly crafted dramatization of the life of the legendary car manufacturer and entrepreneur Enzo Ferrari at a professional and personal fulcrum, starring Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz. I mean, Adam Driver, once again portraying a well-known Italian person, is one of the things that intrigues me the most here. But it just looks amazing, and it looks very, very intriguing when they released like the teaser trailer that came out a couple of weeks ago. So I'm very, very curious as to Michael Mann's spin on this well-known individual in automobile history. And of course, I'm looking forward to commanding performance by Adam Driver, who is no stranger to New York Film Festival. Last year, he was there with White Noise, and I thought he was really good in that movie. So I'm really looking forward to what he's going to bring this year with Ferrari. Next on the list, I am a huge fan of Sofia Coppola. Lost in Translation to this day remains my top 3 favorite movies of all time. That movie will always be forever in my heart. She is one of those like kind of like indie darlings, and she is also very well known in doing movies that really revolve around a strong female personality. And with Priscilla, that looks like it's going to be another one of these like great opuses to a very strong female presence. So Priscilla Sofia Coppola, who in her remarkable filmography has so often returned to intimate portraits of women living complicated lives behind closed doors, has found a subject exquisitely tailored to her interest in Priscilla Presley, whose love affair and marriage to Elvis kept her in the public eye before she had truly experienced the world. A lot of great buzz around this movie. I believe it screened at TIFF and Telluride or Venice, I think it was. But yeah, after hearing about it, obviously I am so intrigued and I'm curious, and I have to check this movie out. So that's one of the main reasons why it's on my list here of most anticipated. Hey, no, I'm not Ryan Reynolds, but I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with the Mint Mobile ads that he puts out there, whether it's on TV, YouTube, social media, or what have you. And I'm sure a lot of you are very, wondering and very skeptical that how good is Mint Mobile? Is it really worth all the hype and all the, huge discounts every month and all the promotions and stuff like that? Well, I was very much like you. And late last year, I decided to take the plunge and try it out myself because I was honestly tired of paying so much money every month on my cell phone bill. I was a huge long-term Verizon customer, and I was paying $80 a month on my cell phone bill, which is ridiculous. Even given the fact that, I'm not really working a regular job like I used to. So saving money is important to me. But of course, I don't want to sacrifice quality in my cell service, especially when it comes to data and all that. So I decided to give it a shot. And I have to say, I am extremely pleased with the service I'm getting. I haven't noticed any drop in quality. And, for what I'm paying, I feel like I'm definitely getting more bang for my buck. And I want to be able to share that experience with you so that if you're in the same boat as I was, maybe it's time for you to give it a shot yourself. And right now, they have this amazing offer where you can sign up for them and you will be able to get 3 months unlimited data for $15 a month for your first 3 months. I mean, that is an insane discount. And I highly recommend you check it out and try it for yourself if you're looking for a change. Switching over from your cell, service is not going to be difficult. I did it it didn't take long at all to do it. As soon as I got the kit and my SIM card in the mail, I was able to switch it out and bing, bang, boom, all said and done. If you're looking for a new phone and you're happening to maybe eyeing one of those new Google Pixel phones, they have a special offer where you could save $200 on a brand new phone and receive 6 months of free service when you purchase a device and 6 months of service. So right now, I think is a good time more than any to give this a shot for yourself. So check out the link I have especially provided for you in the description of this video, this episode here, and give Mint Mobile a shot. And if you do, let me know what you think about it, because I was, again, pleasantly surprised and very happy with how everything turned out. But I think overall, I'm just happy to be saving a lot of money every month on my cell phone bill. And I think you'll be happy too. So Mint Mobile, check out the link in the description. And thanks for checking them out. Thanks, Mint Mobile. Next is a movie that wasn't on my radar until I heard people who screened it at TIFF. I heard people walked out. I heard people were confused. I heard people were elated. And I just heard we get a movie every year that splits the audience and that causes a lot of controversy, that causes a lot of intrigue and confusion and all that stuff. I think my Triangle of Sadness was one of those movies last year, but Aggro Drift is a movie this year that could be along that same lines. When it screamed, like I said, I was following people on Twitter, or X, I should say, and people just were all over the place with this movie. So I have to see it. So I'm glad that it's going to be at New York Film Festival this year. Harmony Korine's hallucinatory trance film, shot entirely in retina scorching infrared and set to an intoxicating Arab music score, casts Jordi Mola and rapper Travis Scott in a feverish, transporting action movie miasma of skulls and swords, masks and machine guns, strippers and mobsters, horned demons and hot cars. Again, I'm reading these descriptions from the official New York Film Festival website. It just sounds like this is going to be like one of those banana scenarios, banana movie experiences that I'm totally all in on. So who knows? I may end up hating it, but it's going to be a thrill ride, I'm sure, an experience to go through. Next on my list is Maestro. Maestro, a tour de force for director and star Bradley Cooper. Maestro dramatizes the public and private lives of legendary musician Leonard Bernstein with sensitivity, visual ingenuity, and symphonic splendor, depicting the complicated yet devoted, decades-spanning relationship between Leonard and his wife, Felicia, who is played by Carey Mulligan. I think Bradley Cooper is a great director. A Star is Born, of course, is a great movie. Regardless of the unfortunate experience I had when I watched it, again, those of you who are familiar with myself and heard me tell the stories of watching A Star is Born in the theater on the podcast or on YouTube know what I went through. But that being said, I still think he is a great director. It's interesting that we are getting another movie based off of a famous conductor and musician at this year's festival. Because last year we got Tar, with Cate Blanchett, which I loved. So it's interesting that we're getting another movie like that. But of course, this is more of a biopic on Leonard Bernstein's life and career. And more importantly, the relationship he's had with his wife, Felicia. So I am so looking forward to this. The trailer blew my mind. It looks very emotional and very cinematic. So, you can tell Bradley Cooper has that love for cinema, like old-fashioned cinema, and it looks like he is using a lot of that passion in filmmaking in this film. So I'm very much looking forward to how that's going to be portrayed there with his movie Maestro. Next on my list is Evil Does Not Exist. In his potent and foreboding new film, Oscar-winning director Ryusuke Hamaguchi of Drive My Car reconstitutes the boundaries of the eco-political thriller with the tale of a serene rural village that's about to be disrupted by the construction of a glamping site for Tokyo tourists. I am a huge fan of Ryusuke Hamaguchi. Drive My Car, when that came out in, I believe it was 2021, I saw it at a screening. I believe it was at MoMI, Museum of Moving Image. Once that screening ended, I knew immediately that was my favorite film of that year. And to this day, it still holds true. I said to myself, when that movie comes out and during Oscar season, it is going to not only be nominated, but I am for damn sure it's going to win at least foreign film. And lo and behold, it did, which it very much well deserved. And I've known of this director for a while now. I think my first exposure to him was back in 2015 when I saw the movie Happy Hour, which is a wonderful movie about 4 women and their friendship and how friendships mature as people grow up and get older. And one thing that was amazing about this movie is because it's a 5-hour freaking movie. 5 hour and 17 minutes that they split into 2 parts. I believe when it was officially released digitally, I think they split into 2 or 4 parts. But I saw it at MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, and I sat there for the whole 5 hours, and I was glued to it during the whole time. It was a brilliant portrayal of females and their relationships and how it could go well and go bad and all that stuff. And, if you are in a friend group, you understand how those relationships and connections and chemistry can sour very easily, but also flourish depending on situations and all that, especially once you get older, when time passes. So I love that movie. So immediately this director was on my radar ever since I saw that movie. And again, Drive My Car, brilliant film. So Evil Does Not Exist really, really fascinates me, especially since it's like kind of like a thriller in a sense. And one thing you have to understand about Japan, which I myself am, you could kind of say I'm familiar with because I've been there many times and I explored a lot of the country so far. They have fascinations with new trends and new ideas to attract tourists. And I'm not talking about foreign tourists. I'm talking about just tourism in general within the country. And what they do is that they love taking ideas that they see from other countries, especially here in America. And as you know, here in America, we went through a time. I don't hear too many people talking about it these days, but glamping was like a huge thing for a while. And then I remember when they started picking that up in Japan, that became like the new trend, like the new hot thing. So a lot of like areas in Japan were starting to install like glamping sites and glamping experiences, right? And one thing you should know about Japanese people is that they love nature. So the fact, this idea of luxurious nature expedition, of course, Japanese people will find very intriguing, right? I think for us Americans is because we just can't live without a real bed with the idea of camping and all that, and the amenities and all that stuff. I'm so curious as to how he puts that together with his way of storytelling. So I'm really curious about this movie, and that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to this when it comes out, when I have a chance to see it. Next on my list is actually a short film called Strange Way of Life. It's Almodovar's dazzling new short, which is an unexpected hyper male Western melodrama of vivid colors and explosive homoeroticism, starring Ethan Hawke as a small town sheriff who, after 25 years, rekindles a sexual relationship with a former lover played by Pedro Pascal. If you don't understand why I am so looking forward to checking this out, just based off of that description alone, then you don't know me and you don't know what you're talking about. Now, I'm personally not familiar with Almodovar at all, but after hearing about this, I am very intrigued to kind of use this as my gateway to this person's filmography. But the major thing that intrigues me here is Ethan Hawke and Pedro Pascal in a very like Brokeback Mountain type of storyline. When I saw the trailer for this, yes, it's very colorful. It's very, the cinematography is very, very poppy, but it looks very intriguing. And you have these two extremely good actors on the screen together playing lovers. Oh my God, forget it. I am so into this. I can't wait to check this out. Yeah, so it's on my list 100%. Next on my list is Ryuichi Sakamoto, Opus. As a final gift to Ryuichi Sakamoto's legions of fans, filmmaker Neo Sora, who is Sakamoto's son, has constructed a gorgeous eulogy starring Sakamoto himself in one of his final performances, an intimate, melancholy, and achingly beautiful one-man show recorded in late 2020 at NHK Studios in Tokyo. Again, those of you who know me know that I am a huge fan of Ryuichi Sakamoto. He is known for doing a lot of beautiful movie soundtracks. One of them you should know about is definitely the soundtrack he did for The Revenant. The score is very haunting, very, very pleasant. It's just so many things to describe it. And I'm also a huge fan of his band that he was a part of called Yellow Magic Orchestra, which is kind of like a more techno pop type band. And I remember the first time I heard YMO, as they are well known as, I said immediately, this is the sound that I love. I love this sound. And that's basically where he was known for. That was his debut. And when I go to Japan and people ask me, oh, what's your favorite Japanese artist? And when I say YMO and Ryuichi Sakamoto, their eyes lighten up. I was like, oh my God. Well, first of all, they're like, wow, you're old, because that's like in the 80s, right? Early 80s. So they immediately, I kind of give away my age there. But, also he is well loved and well revered in Japan as kind of like a innovator for that type of sound and for scoring in general. One of my regrets is I never got to see him perform live. I've seen him live because another film festival I usually go to is Japan Cuts. That takes place during the summer here in New York every year, which is a showcase of kind of new and indie Japanese film. Sakamoto-san, he lives in New York, so he would frequent this festival often. So I would just see him like walking in and just sitting in the audience watching a movie. And one year, he even introduced a movie, one of the feature films of that year. So I had a chance to see him go on stage and speak and all that. So it's one of those things where I was so happy just to be in his presence there, but I just wish I had a chance to see him perform. So having a chance to finally see his final performance on film in a kind of documentary style by his own son, I think is going to be extremely exciting to watch. And I can't wait to check it out. Next on my list is The Boy and the Heron. Now, this is one of those animated films from Studio Ghibli that I haven't been excited for in a very long time. Of course, Studio Ghibli films I get excited for, but the reason why I was so excited for this is because this was supposed to be the major farewell by Miyazaki himself, Hayao Miyazaki, who helped create Studio Ghibli, who formed it, put it on the map. This was his kind of farewell. Now, in recent months, he's kind of said like, well, I may do another film. He got a sense of how it was to make a film again, and I think he just has that passion. It kind of reinvigorated him. This was supposed to be his swan song. Another thing that really intrigued me about this is when it came out in Japan earlier this year, there was no marketing involved. No trailer released. No press material was put out. No images from the film itself was released and put on social media or anything like that. Just an image that was like a rough sketch and a date. And if you're a fan of Hayao Miyazaki and if you're a fan of Studio Ghibli in Japan, you knew this date. So you knew that at that time, when it was released in theaters, that's when you would go to check out this new film. And you were going in it fresh. The balls and guts to actually put a film out there by a well-known director, animator, legend, without any PR behind it is intriguing and fascinating to me. And I wish people would do that more often. I've spoken about how amazing it would be if, let's say, just out of the blue, you hear that, oh, Scorsese is releasing his brand new movie next week. Check it out. It's called, I don't know, Gangs of Casinos. Or Taika Waititi's brand new movie out next week called so-and-so. Could you imagine a brand new Marvel film? Guess what? It's coming out tomorrow. Enjoy. Talking about event films, right? Talking about creating event moments. I wish Hollywood would have the guts to do that more, but I feel like there's always that incessant need to promote and market and all that stuff like that and put it out there, because they're afraid that if there's no trailers, no one's going to check it out. Guess what? People in Japan checked this movie out. It did extremely well opening weekend. So I went into this. Now, because it is coming out here in America, of course, trailers have been released, photos have been released. I have not, to this day, seen a single photo or watched a single trailer because I refuse. I'm going to go into this fresh as it was initially intended for the Japanese audience. So I'm going into this extremely excited to check it out this way. But according to the website, The Boy and the Heron. While the Second World War rages, the teenage Mahito, haunted by his mother's tragic death, is relocated from Tokyo to the serene rural home of his new stepmother. As he tries to adjust, this strange new world grows even stranger. This is the first film in a decade from Hayao Miyazaki. It is a ravishing, endlessly inventive fantasy that is destined to be ranked with the legendary animator's finest and boldest works. That right there is the most I've known of this movie this whole time. I hate the fact that I read it, but still, I don't really know much about what's going on. So I'm very much looking forward to checking this out when it comes out. Now, last on my list, and the one that I am so much looking forward to catching. And this, when this trailer came out, I was extremely, extremely all in and intrigued by it all. And that is Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things. Poor Things is, in his boldest vision yet, iconoclast auteur Yorgos Lanthimos creates a punkish update of the Frankenstein story set in an alternate 19th century on the cusp of technology breakthrough, in which a peculiar childlike woman named Bella, played by Emma Stone, embarks on a journey of actualization. Now, if you saw me react to that initial trailer that we got, I went through a mix of emotions. I didn't know what was going on. I loved the visualizations of everything. I've always been a fan of Emma Stone. Willem Dafoe's in it. I believe he plays the scientist who creates her. Mark Ruffalo in this movie. Visually stunning, so when I saw this initial trailer, I was just like, I have to see this movie, and it was very obvious that they were going towards a new telling of Frankenstein, but with a bold twist that only Yorgos Lanthimos can do. And because of that, I just have to check this out, and I cannot wait. And that is my most anticipated film at this year's New York Film Festival. So that's my list of the top 10 films. I'm curious, out of all of these films that I've mentioned, and again, this is just 10 of them. There are other movies that I'll be checking out that I am so looking forward to watching. Out of these 10, which one stands out to you the most? Whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on podcast format here. Hey everyone, just a quick message here that this episode is brought to you by a new shop that I just launched. That's right, popculture.shop is a new merch shop where you can not only find Low-Key Geek and eventually MovieTime merchandise, but you will find merchandise dedicated to some of the biggest things in pop culture at the moment. Whether it's movies, TV, video games, memes, or anything of the like, you'll find some of the homages to some of the biggest things that are happening currently at the time. You also eventually will find some cool retro throwbacks in here and there. The shop just launched, so bear with me. I'm filling in the inventory, but you'll find new stuff dropping every week. But to help celebrate the launch of this brand new merch shop, I'm giving all of you, the listeners, subscribers here at the Low-Key Geek channel, a nice little discount to check it out. So if you use the code LOWKEYGEEK at checkout, you'll get yourself a nice little 15% discount. So definitely check it out. This is another great way to help support the channel and show your love and support for everything that we do here. But it's also a brand new venture of my own, just going out into the retail market. So any support that you could throw our way would be greatly appreciated. So once again, that is Pop Couture, popculture.shop, popculture.shop, a shop for geeks who are chic.
For full audio episodes of the MovieTime podcast, make sure to follow and subscribe to the Low-Key Geek channel on your favorite podcast platform. New episodes are uploaded every week.